Tortoises are fascinating pets that have been known to outlive their owners when properly cared for. But those thinking about getting a pet tortoise should think about all aspects of tortoise care before taking their new and adorable reptile pet home. Having a tortoise as a pet is a big commitment that shouldn't be taken lightly, but it's also a lot of fun. Here's what you need to know if you just got a new tortoise or are thinking about getting one. What is the lifespan of a tortoise? Tortoises may live for a very long time if properly cared for in captivity, which should come as no surprise. If you get a tortoise, keep in mind that you'll most likely keep it until you are in your 60s. Tortoises are noted for being some of the world's longest living creatures. The pancake tortoise, which has the shortest longevity, can live for 30 to 50 years, whereas the Galapagos giant tortoise can live for about 200 years. While this means you'll have a friend for the rest of your life, it also means you'll need to be sure you're ready and capable of caring for them for that long. Tortoises can live so long people have been known to write them into their will. How crazy is that? Fun fact: Adwaita, an Aldabra tortoise, had the longest documented lifespan of any tortoise, living to be over 255 years old. Harriet, a Galapagos giant tortoise, lived to be about 175 years old and was thought to have been transported from the Galapagos Islands by Charles Darwin. Harriet died in the custody of Steve and Terry Irwin, a well-known family. What types of tortoises make good pets? The most common species of tortoise for pets are Hermann's, sulcata, Russian, Greek, leopard, redfoot, yellowfoot, and Indian stars. Some tortoises have distinct preferences for temperature, habitat, and feeding requirements, as well as varying sizes. It's important that you do your research first and choose a tortoise based on how well the tortoise fits into your lifestyle rather than how cute the tortoise is. Where to get a pet tortoise? Depending on the type of turtle you choose, you may have an easy or tough time finding one. Tortoises, such as Hermann's tortoises and Russian tortoises, are sold in many pet stores. Other tortoises are even more difficult to come by and will almost certainly have to be obtained directly from a breeder or in online pet marketplaces like Alpha Match. Sulcata tortoises are one of the most popular tortoise species kept as pets, however, they are difficult to find in stores and will most likely have to be ordered online. These beloved tortoises can grow to be over 100 pounds and have long enough lives to outlive their owners. Tortoises require a license as well as a microchip. CITES laws cover a large number of common tortoise species. The right to breed, sell, and own a tortoise is covered by this law. Unless the seller receives a certificate from CITES, Mediterranean tortoises shall not be sold or offered for sale. Never acquire a tortoise unless you're confident the breeder is following the law, and if you plan to breed and sell the offspring, you'll need to get a certificate beforehand. In general, you should be cautious about where you buy your tortoise and look for a trustworthy vendor, as you will want to be able to contact the seller for guidance and background information if you have any problems in the future. This suggests that buying a tortoise from a reptile show is probably not a good idea. How much does it cost to keep a pet tortoise? The tortoise, as well as supplies such as a tank and food, will easily set you back $100 to $200 on your first purchase. That is if you are getting a tortoise for a reasonable price. Some tortoises might cost as much as $1,500 simply for the tortoise itself. The size of the tortoise will also affect your costs. Because you'll most likely get a small tortoise, the initial cost may be inexpensive. Tortoises that grow to be enormous, on the other hand, will need large enclosures with plenty of open space and warm lighting, whether artificial or natural. Remember that your tortoise will also need commercial tortoise food, calcium supplements, and plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. Because finding a veterinarian that specializes in tortoises might be difficult, it's a good idea to check your area before purchasing one. One advantage of tortoises is that, unlike many other pets, they do not require routine veterinarian appointments. However, if you take your tortoise to the vet, it's almost always because they are sick or injured, which may easily cost $100 to $1,000 or more. What kind of home does a pet tortoise need? A reptile tank will probably be adequate for little tortoises. Large tortoises could need their own room or a fenced-in area. All tortoises, in theory, should have access to a safe outdoor space. When constructing an outside habitat, make sure it is secure and safe for your tortoise. You don't want to go to check on your tortoise only to discover that they are missing. What you should put in your tortoise's enclosure. Aside from the proper enclosure, your pet tortoise's home should also include the proper substrate, light, heat, and accessories to make his or her life as comfortable as possible. Substrate. Your tortoise's substrate should be absorbent so that it doesn't end up standing in waste. All of the following materials are acceptable, which are coco coir, peat, and soil. If you like a chunkier substrate, reptile substrate bark, and mulch, as well as coconut husk chips, all work well. Your tortoise will need grassy places in outside enclosures and will likely love dirt as well. The grasses Bermuda and fescue are suggested but not essential. Make sure any grass or weeds growing in the area will not harm your tortoise if he or she consumes them. Light and heat. Your tortoise will require UV ray lights in indoor habitats. This aids in the formation of vitamin D, which in turn aids in the production of calcium. They also require a heat lamp, which offers a warm environment in which they can maintain their body temperature. You should have a light and a heat lamp, not just one lamp that can do both functions. The cage should have UV lighting throughout, but the heat should be concentrated in one area so that your tortoise can go in and out as needed. Accessories. Toys aren't necessary for your tortoise, but an enclosure with a variety of textures and features such as caverns, bridges, and basking platforms would be appreciated. Plants or other materials to rub against may also be appreciated to scratch itches. Food and water. To prevent algae and waste buildup, your tortoise will want a dish that can hold its water and is easy to clean. A food dish isn't necessary, but it's a wonderful idea because it makes cleaning up leftover food much easier, letting you keep the enclosure clean. What you should feed your pet tortoise. You should feed your tortoise fresh vegetables and a commercial diet on a daily basis. Fruits and weeds, such as dandelions and clovers, will also appeal to your tortoise. Simply ensure that whatever you choose is pesticide-free and thoroughly washed. Fruits should be served once or twice a week, but not excessively. Calcium supplementation can be provided with calcium powder, cuttlebone, or calcium blocks, and other foods such as alfalfa hay can be offered as treats. Proteins should be provided sparingly weekly if you have an omnivore tortoise, such as a red-foot tortoise. What not to feed your pet tortoise. Tortoises are poisoned by a number of plants and fruits. You must not keep any of the following items inside the enclosure: daffodils, azaleas, buttercups, avocados, hydrangeas, morning glory, citrus fruit, bean sprouts. How to take care of your pet tortoise. Handling and petting. Your tortoise is unlikely to enjoy being carried around, so only do so when absolutely necessary. Scratches and pets will help foster trust, especially around feeding time. When a tortoise is picked up, it has a natural instinct to thrash its claws. Pick up your turtle by the shell and support it as much as possible. Dropping a tortoise, on the other hand, can crack its shell, resulting in life-threatening illnesses. Shell care. Providing enough calcium in the diet is the most critical part of shell care. However, because shells are part of your tortoise's skeletal system, you should inspect it for cracks and other ailments. A veterinarian should inspect any damage to the shell. Bathing. Bathing your tortoise is only necessary on rare occasions or when it is particularly filthy. Bathing improves hydration and helps to preserve health and hygiene. Constipated tortoises can also benefit from a warm bath. Brumation. Brumation is a type of dormancy that isn't real hibernation, but rather a state of torpor. Brumation isn't experienced by all tortoises, so make sure you know what your tortoise's needs are. Although activity levels and metabolism drop dramatically during brumation, your tortoise may be enticed to come out for some sun and even a nibble on warm days. Enclosure care. The enclosure for your tortoise should be kept clean and sanitary at all times. Indoor enclosures should be wiped down on a regular basis to prevent the buildup of bacteria and trash. How to know if your pet tortoise is sick? Respiratory illnesses. Tortoises are susceptible to respiratory illnesses, such as pneumonia. Your tortoise should be assessed by a veterinarian as soon as possible if you observe a runny nose, difficulty breathing, swollen eyelids, or a poor appetite or activity level. Respiratory illnesses can quickly worsen. Shell softening and damage. Shell softening and damage can be caused by malnutrition, a lack of sunlight, or a low calcium to phosphorus ratio. It's possible that the shell will become deformed and distorted as a result of it. Talk to your veterinarian if you're not sure what's causing the shell difficulties. Malnutrition. Your tortoise may be malnourished if it becomes large or puffy, or if you see pasty or liquidy feces. If you suspect your turtle is malnourished, have them examined by a veterinarian. You'll need to provide the vet a lot of information about your tortoise's food so that they can help you make changes and rule out conditions that cause malabsorption. Dehydration. Tortoises that do not have access to clean water or do not eat foods that include water become dehydrated quickly. Sunken eyes are the most obvious sign of dehydration, but you can also notice a drop in waste production. Dehydration can cause constipation in mild cases, but it can also lead to kidney difficulties and mortality in extreme cases. Parasites. Tortoises that venture outside are vulnerable to parasites. Parasites can be detected by weight loss, irregular feces, and stomach discomfort. There are over-the-counter parasite medications, but it's best to have your tortoise evaluated by a veterinarian to determine the parasite and the best therapy. Is it possible for tortoises to live together? Tortoises are solitary creatures by nature, but keeping two tortoises in the same enclosure should be alright if you follow the gender restrictions and keep an eye on them for the first few weeks. Only keep two tortoises together if they are both females. If a male tortoise is maintained with another male or a female, he can become extremely aggressive, while one male with two or more females can work. Are tortoises suitable as kids' pets? A tortoise is not a good pet for kids under the age of 10. If left in the care of a child under the age of 12, tortoises are at a higher risk of injury and starvation because they require a particular level of maturity from their owner to appreciate the level of care required. They also carry salmonella, thus their handler must practice good cleanliness to avoid infection. Introducing your pet tortoise to your pet dog. The easiest method to accomplish this is to keep your tortoise in a secure place, such as a mesh run, where they will be safe from your dog. Give your tortoise a box to hide in when they are on the run so they can tuck themselves out of the way if they get too stressed, or you can put them in it if they just retreat back into their shell. Allow your dog to investigate the run while being supervised, without making a big deal out of it. Allowing them to run loose together can cause injury to your dog or tortoise. Keeping a pet tortoise is a lifelong commitment. Tortoises aren't for people who aren't willing to put in the effort. They are amazing creatures that will make you smile just by observing them. A tortoise will be with you for the rest of your life, and they will do so in a delightful way while munching on their greens and listening to you discuss your day. Every step of the way, they'll be by your side.